كلية الفقه الحنفي تقدم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Inshallah, today we will be starting a new chapter of revoking the Kitab al-Raj'ah. Firstly we'll talk about the concept of revoking. Who is allowed to revoke? Is it the husband or the wife? When is he allowed to revoke her? And we'll move on to how he will revoke her as well. So is it something that he has to write down? Is it something he says? Does he say to her? Does he say to somebody else? Does he say in front of witnesses? Does he need to even say anything? Is it something that he can do through physical action? So all of these rulings we will discuss. Does he need to make witnesses? So revoking is revoking her. We will talk about this in detail here. Then we will move on to talking about if there is a difference of opinion between the husband and wife as to whether the revoke took place or not, then what happens? Where we've previously talked about defendant and claimant, we'll bring that discussion into here, like I explained when I explained it the first time, if you remember, that this is a concept that will help you throughout, and it's something that needs to be remembered. So inshallah today will be something that we will bring back that discussion as well. And we'll then talk about one or two offshoot rulings regarding that. Then we will go into when accurately the waiting period in essence ends, and hence if the waiting period ends, that revocability, that ability that the husband has to revoke, when does that come to an end as well? We'll talk about that. There's a lot of detail there to be mentioned, and we'll talk about that inshallah. We'll also talk about if the wife, if she takes a ghusl, she's taking her final bath, and then what happens if she leaves some part dry? What does she need to do? Does the waiting period finish? And in essence, does the revoke finish of the husband or not? We'll talk about that. And then is the wife during the waiting period of when he is allowed to revoke her or when he's not allowed to revoke her? In fact, we'll talk about both. During that waiting period, is she allowed to adorn herself? Can she wear colorful clothing? Can she beautify herself? Can she look good for herself or anything? We'll talk about all these rulings as well. And inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So today's session, the first one, we're moving on to the chapter of revoking. So when a man issues a revocable divorce to his wife, one or two, then he can revoke her, take that divorce, in essence, cancel the effect of the divorce, and during the waiting period. So during the waiting period, he is allowed to revoke that divorce, in essence. When we're saying revoking, it doesn't mean that he can take it back. That, okay, I take that back, so therefore I've still got another 3 divorces left. No. Obviously, 1 divorce has been used, or 2 divorces have been used now. He's used them, it's finished now. If he wants to, like we say, revoke her, simply she will become his wife, but he'll only have 1 divorce left if he's already issued 2, or he'll have 2 left if he's only issued 1. So this is if the man gave a revocable divorce, which we've talked about how a person goes about doing that, generally through clear wordings or through those 3 elusive terms where they were issuing a revocable divorce, namely the do your waiting period, not the do the waiting period, the i'taddi, meaning start counting. That was one, start counting. Free your womb was the second one, and the third one was you are one. Okay, so any wording along these lines, they will issue a revocable divorce we talked about. So clear wordings, or this generally speaking, will be issuing a revocable divorce to her. And the key thing to understand here is that whether the wife has no say in this, that's the idea. So he will issue the divorce, and then without the wife's consent, he can take her back. Now, this is generally, a lot of times, a lot of people raise objections to that's not fair. Like, why does she not get a say? So we have to understand one concept. I mean, it's a serious thing where a man is issuing a divorce. So when a man is issuing a divorce, there's obviously a really big responsibility on the husband's shoulders. You know, if he doesn't issue it in a correct way, and for the right reasons, he doesn't have the right reasons and things, he will have to stand in front of Allah to, maybe, if Allah asks him regarding this, for this oppression maybe that he has done. So there's a big responsibility here. So if there is a great responsibility, we have to give the man the opportunity, just as he had full discretion to issue the divorce, full discretion to make up for that divorce. Maybe he's made a mistake, right? And it happens, we're human beings, we make mistakes. So he may understand that I've made a mistake here. I need to cancel what I've done here. I don't want to be questionable for what I've done. There's a big responsibility I had. Now, if there's barriers in place where he can't put it right, then there's a problem, right? That responsibility was given to the husband, but he wasn't able to correct it. So that's the reason, one big reason as to why Shariat has said that the man's going to have the ability to be able to make up for his mistake. Obviously, it's not never ending. It's only during the waiting period that he can take her back by doing this ruju, as we call taking her back. And then obviously in the Quran, Allah Ta'ala mentions regarding this, وَبُعُولَتُهُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّهِنَّ, that their husbands are more entitled to take them back. So this is a concept that is important at the beginning to understand, that the husband can take the wife back after one or two divorces only, meaning as long as the divorce has not become the mughallad, the completely irrevocable divorce, then he can take her back. So this is in regards to revoking. Hopefully people have understood what that is all about. Now, just on that particular topic, if he after the waiting period, what happens then? So if the waiting period's over, then effectively that divorce would have become irrevocable. Now he can't revoke her. So they will have to now do a nikah, a new nikah, a fresh nikah, and they can now obviously get married again. That's provided it was only one or two divorces, not three. And also, having said this, if the man gave a irrevocable divorce to his wife, then during the waiting period, he can still marry her. Now, he can't revoke her, remember, he doesn't have the ability to revoke her because he issued an irrevocable divorce. So therefore, he'll have to get married again with her. Now, that is whether it's in the waiting period or after the waiting period. Remember, because the waiting period is due for him. So if he is the one who makes it cancel by getting married to her in the waiting period, that's fine, absolutely fine. It's just that somebody else can't get married to her during the waiting period. So hopefully that has made sense as well. Then moving on, how does a person do this ruju, as we call it, revoke the wife? So firstly, understand that revocation can be done verbally. And that's the best way to revoke, right? Verbally, say to her that I take you back. I take you back into my nikah. I cancel the divorce. Any such wording verbally, take her back. And he doesn't have to say in front of her. He doesn't have to say to her. He can say in front of somebody else, I take my wife back. He says it to his friend. He says it to his whoever, other relative, whoever it is, that I take my wife back. And he never told her about it. Obviously, it's better, it's mustahab to make sure that she knows about it, tell her, so that she doesn't continue with her iddah and finish her iddah and then let's go ahead and get married to somebody else. So that would be quite, drastic. So that's why he should inform her, and it's always best to say to her that I take you back. But if a person doesn't want to for whatever reason, then yeah, they can do it, through somebody else. Now, when we're saying verbally, that can also be done in writing, so you can, message her or something and making sure that, there's surety that it is him. And he can take her back like that. So either through some sort of verbal affirmation, verbally saying that he has taken her back. This is how he takes her back, and this is the best way, like I said. And the other way of taking her back is through physical action. So you either verbally or physically take her back. So how do you physically take her back? So in a nutshell, you do anything with her that would necessitate hurmatul musahara. Hopefully everyone understands the hurmatul musahara from the nikah chapter. So in essence, you do something with her that you can only do with your wife, right? So you, for example, touch her with desire, or you sleep with her, or the man, if he kisses her, things like this. I'm sure people understand the concept here, that if a person, the man, if he wants to take her back through physical action, then it's in this manner. Now, a lot of times people get a bit worried here that, he's going to take me back through any action. Remember, it's not any action. For example, if he shows some compassion to her by just smiling at her, he just smiles at her, that's not him taking her back, right? Nothing happened, right? He has to actually do something, because a smiley, you can smile at anybody, right? A smiley is not restricted to the wife. Does that make sense? You can smile at your brother, you can smile at your relative, but you can't sleep with your brother or your relative unless they're your wife or your husband, in essence. So retraction, if verbally we talked about, and also through physical action. So doing it only through physical action and not verbally saying it is disliked. It is makruh, it is disliked. Ideally he should affirm that physical action of his that he has done with verbal affirmation of him having taken her back. So he will also verbally say that I have taken her back, or I've taken you back, and actually say this to her. In this way, the dislike will then be removed. Otherwise, there will be always that dislike because of the way he took her back. So this is something that needs to be remembered and needs to be understood in regards to retraction, revoking the wife, and how to do that. Now to move on, we have when you have both 1/8 from the first group with one or more fraction from the second group, the estate will be divided into 24 parts. So you got 8 times 3 happening now. I'm sure people are getting the hang of it, inshallah. So the example, deceased has left behind a wife, mother, and a son. So if we draw the line out, we write wife, mother, and son. Wife, because there's a son there, will receive 1/8. Mother will receive, again, because there's a son there, will receive 1/6. And the son will receive the remaining. He will be the agnatic shareholder. Now we see 1/8 is there from group number 1, alongside 1/6 with group number 2. So we take the 1/8, the 8, we take the bottom number, and we times the 8 by 3. That's the rule. So 8 times 3 is 24. That gives us our divisor. Then we give 1/8 of 24 to the wife. So she receives 3, because that's 1/8 of 24. And mother receives 1/6 of 24. So receives 4, because 4 is 1/6 of 24. And we add that up, 4 plus 3, which is 7, minus the 24, gives us 17 remaining for the sun. So we add that up, equals 24. So this is what we had left over, 24. And we've given out all 24 shares to the heirs that are remaining over here. So this is in essence how you do it. For those people who may be struggling with fractions, maybe you want to revise over how to work out fractions. It's very easy, simple. 1/8 of 24, you simply divide the 24 into 8 parts. So one part of it, which is obviously 3. So if you don't know how to do it, you can just do it on your calculator. If you want to, 24, you divide it by the 6, which you're working out 1/6 of 24. So that will give you your 4. So like that, that's how you do it. It's very easy. So revising over fractions will hopefully help the people there. Now we're moving on to rule number 4. Now rule number 4 is a little bit more complicated. As you can appreciate, as we go along, it adds a little bit of complexity. So this is when only agnetic relatives are present without anyone having an allocated share. So there are no fractions. So we've understood up until rule 3 was very easy. Oh, well, rule number 2, rule number 1 was very easy. Rule 2 was a little bit more challenging. Rule 3 probably a bit more challenging. Rule 4, it'd probably be easier than rule 3, I would say, for most people as well. So anyway, the divisor is determined based on the number of individuals now. So if there are only males, the divisor equals the number of males. If both males and females are present, each male is counted as 2 individuals, and each female is counted as 1 individual. So you'll understand. So example is deceased left behind a son and 2 daughters. So we draw the line again, we write 2 daughters and a son. So in this case, the daughter, because in the presence of the son, will become an agnetic shareholder. And obviously the son will be the agnetic shareholder. So you've got the asaba bi nafsihi happening in son, and asaba bi ghayrihi for the daughter. So she's becoming an asaba because of the son. So what happens in this scenario? We're looking at number of individuals. We've got 2 daughters and we've got 2 daughters and we've got 1 son. But the sons, because he's the male, he'll be counted as 2. So we've got 2 daughters and so-called 2 sons. We just make the son into doubles. So we got 4 people. So that means 4 people means we need 4 shares. So therefore we'll make the divisor into 4. Very easy. And then we give each person 1 in essence. So we give the 2 daughters their 2 because each daughter will get 1 each. And the son, we counted him as 2, is actually 1, but he gets double the share, so he'll get 2. So here we'll have the son receiving double the share of each daughter. So that's the way to work this out. So this equals, we can see equals 4. We've divisor is 4. We've equaled 4 here. So we know we've done it right. So just 2 key points for summary. I'm sure everyone understood that. The allocated shares can be divided into 2 groups. Coming back to the point, just all the shares that are allocated, 2 groups. We've got half, quarter, and an eighth. And then we've got a third, 2/3, and 1/6. There are 4 rules for working out the divisor. Rule number 1 is when the shares occur individually, the divisor will be the same as the denominator. So if only half is there, or only 2/3 is there, or only 1/8 is there, or only 1/6 is there, whatever the denominator is, the divisor will be the same. Rule number 2, when more than 1 fraction occurs, and they are from the same group, so group A or group B, or group 1 and group 2, whichever way you want to say, the divisor will be the biggest number from the denominators. Whatever the highest common denominator is, that's the one we'll use. Rule number 3 is when there are fractions from both groups now. However many fractions there are from both groups, you can have multiple from group A and multiple from group, you can have the half, the quarter, whatever it is. So the highest denominator from group 1. So if you got a half and a quarter, you use the quarter now, you use the 4. From group 1, you multiply by 3. And that's it. This will be your divisor. Ignore group 2. Always use group 1, as I've said. And rule number 4 is when there are only agnates and thus no one with an allocated share, no one with a fraction, then the divisor will be based on the number of individuals. Count each male as 2 doubles and each female as singles, as 1 individuals. And like that, you will be able to do the scenarios. So now, hopefully people have understood this. This is how to calculate the shares of each individual. Now what we'll do is I'll give you some questions. And I want everyone to do these questions. So question number 1, divide the estate of the deceased who has left behind a husband and a father. So you draw your line out, husband and father. That's all you're doing. And again, like I say, always pause the recording if you need more time, because I will now reveal the answer. So husband, in the answer, husband receives half, father receives a asaba, meaning he will be the agnatic shareholder. So because there's only one fraction, one group, one fraction being used, so you just make the divisor out of the 2. 2 is your divisor. Give husband 1, which is half of 2, and leftover, which is 1, you give it to the father. Very simple, E equals 2, so we're right. Question number 2, divide the estate of the deceased who has left behind a wife and a son. So draw it out, you write wife and son. Now the answer, 1/8 for wife, son becomes a asaba, becomes the agnatic shareholder. Because there's only one fraction, 1/8, we make the divisor out of 8. Wife gets 1/8, and the remaining 7 shares will go to the son. E equals 8, so we've got everything going right. Question number 3, divide the estate of the deceased who has left behind a mother, full brother, and 3 full sisters. So you're going to write it all out. Mother, 3 full sisters, and full brother. Full brother comes last because we know that he will become the agnatic shareholder. Okay, the answer, mother gets 1/6. 3 full sisters will become, with their brother, will become the agnatic shareholders. So now there's only one fraction, 1/6, so you make the divisor out of the 6. Mother will get that 1/6, that 1, and the remaining goes to the sisters and the full brother. Now remember, the remaining is 7. Now here what happened is each full sister would receive 1 share, and the brother has to receive double of theirs. So it works out here because each sister will receive 1 share each, and the brother will receive 2. So there was 7 left over. So if you do 3 plus the 2 there was 5 left over, should I say, 5 left over. And there are 5 people here. Sorry, I said 7 by mistake, but it's 5 left over here. And 5, in essence, 5 number that we needed, because we need 2 shares for the brother and 1 share each for the sister, for each sister. So we had 3 and 2, so it all equals 6. So it worked out here. We'll do later on scenarios when it may not work out, but the point over here simply is to show how to work out the divisor, so we'll keep it quite simple. Question number 4, divide the estate of the deceased who has left behind an agnate brother, an agnate sister, and a paternal uncle. So we've got agnate brother, agnate sister, and an uncle. What do we do here? So now revealing the answer. Agnate brother with the agnate sister become the asaba, become the agnatic shareholder. And this is because the brother, if you remember in the table, in the chart, the brother comes before the uncle. So in agnatic kin, agnatic shareholders. So he will get the asaba, the uncle will get nothing. Mim just means mahjub, means they don't get anything. You can just write 0 or nil or anything you want to write. So now here we have a scenario where we don't have any fractions. So rule number 4, we just make it from the number of individuals. So the agnate sister is only 1 and brother counts as double, so there's 2. So then we have to make the scenario out of 3. So the divisor will be 3. We give 2 to the brother, 1 to the sister, and 0 to the uncle. And it's as simple as that. E equals 3, so we're all okay. Question number 5. Divide the estate of the deceased who is left behind 2 full sisters, a paternal cousin brother. 2 full sisters and a paternal cousin brother. Now revealing the answer. 2/3 to the full sisters, because there's 2 of them, 2 or more of them, and the paternal cousin brother will become a asaba. He is the only agnate or agnatic shareholder. So we see there's only 2/3 being used here. So we make the divisor out of 3. The full sisters receive their 2 parts, and the cousin brother will now receive 1, the remaining. So it's 3, no problem, it's all okay. Question number 6. Divide the estate when there is 2 wives, 2 sons, and 3 daughters. So you draw your scenario out. 2 wives, 3 daughters, and 2 sons. Now to reveal the answer. 1/8 for the 2 wives because there is children involved, and 3 daughters and 2 sons together will become the agnatic shareholders. So we got 1/8. So we will make the divisor out of 8, and we'll give the 2 wives their 1 share. They'll get half each. They'll divide that amongst themselves. And the 3 daughters plus the 2 sons. So if you remember, 3 daughters, 2 sons count as doubles. So the sons are in essence 4 plus the 3 daughters, that becomes 7. So it adds up over here because the 3 daughters will get 3, 1 each, and the 2 sons will get 4 because they'll get 2, 2 each. So it adds up 4 plus 3 plus 1 equals the 8. So it worked out over here. Now moving on to do a few more questions to make sure everyone does get the hang of it. As we can see, slowly, it will become more challenging. So number 7, when we're doing, just to make you understand that when we're doing inheritance, it is all about a lot of practice. You have to practice a lot because the more you practice, the more you will start to get the hang of it. So you got this scenario here. We got a daughter, 2 granddaughters, 2 uterine brothers, and an agnate brother now. So you got more people to consider. So you got daughter, 2 granddaughters, 2 uterine brothers, and an agnate brother. So now what do we do here? You have to write out the scenarios, the shares for each one first. Now to reveal the answer, half for the daughter, because there's nobody else that would receive that. The 2 granddaughters will receive, because of the daughter, there's only 1 daughter, so the 2 granddaughters will receive 1/6. Then the 2 uterine brothers will have nothing because of the daughter being there. And the agnate brother will become the asaba, will become the agnatic shareholder. So now we see there's a half and a 6. So half is from group 1 and 6 is from group 2. So now what do we need to do? We need to take the half, the 2 there, and we multiply it by 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. So that's our divisor. So now we give the daughter half of that, which is 3. We give granddaughters 1/6 of that, which is 1. The uterine brothers will receive nothing. And the remaining, so we see 3 plus the 1 is 4. We got 2 remaining, so we give that to the agnate brother. So now that equals 6, so we are okay here. Question number 8. When there is a daughter, agnate sister, a uterine sister, and a paternal uncle. So you write it out: daughter, agnate sister, uterine sister, and paternal uncle. Now to reveal the answer, daughter again receives a half. Agnate sister this time will be the اجعلوا الأخوات مع البنات عصبة, so she will become the agnetic shareholder. The uterine sister will receive nothing because there's the daughter there. And the paternal uncle will also receive nothing because there is a agnetic shareholder who's before him. The uncle is after the sister. Sister is higher in relation, so the sister will get the agnetic share. So hopefully this makes this clear too. So now we only got one fraction, which is half, so we just make it our 2, give 1 to the daughters and 1 to the agnate sister, and that's it really. The rest of them get nothing. So equals 2, so we're okay. Next question. If there is a grandfather, full sister, paternal grandfather, and an agnate brother. So you write it out: granddaughter, full sister, paternal grandfather, and agnate brother. What happens here? Now to reveal the answer, half for the granddaughter. Full sister receives nothing because there is a descendant there, the granddaughter is there. This would be the paternal granddaughter, meaning that granddaughter would be the son's daughter, yeah? The paternal grandfather, he will receive his, there's no father, so he'll receive the 1/6, but there's a daughter, meaning a granddaughter there. So he will also receive the asaba, the agnetic sharehold. And the agnate brother will now receive nothing because the grandfather is there. So we can see that there is a half and there's 1/6. So half is from group 1, 1/6 is from group 2. So we just take the half, the 2 there, and you multiply it by 3. So your divisor is going to be 6. So you give granddaughter a half of that, which is 3. Full sister gets nothing. Paternal grandfather will receive his 1/6 share, which is 1. Then when we see that he was given him 1, the agnate brother gets nothing. So we've given 1 because of the 1/6 share. We add that with the 3 that we already gave to the granddaughter. So the 1 plus 3 is 4. We still have 2 left over. So that 2 will go to him also because of his agnetic share. So 1 plus 2, which then equals the 3 in total the paternal grandfather will receive. And as we said, the agnate brother gets nothing. This equals 6 in total. So this is now correct. Next one, deceased left behind husband, 2 daughters, a granddaughter, a uterine brother, and a full brother. So you write them all down: husband, 2 daughters, granddaughter, uterine brother, and full brother. To now reveal the answer, husband receives a quarter, 2 daughters receive 2/3, because there's 2 of them. Granddaughter receives nothing now because there are 2 daughters. If there was only 1 daughter, the granddaughter would have received a 1/6. And the husband obviously receives the quarter because there's the child there, there's the daughters there. The uterine brother receives nothing because there is daughters there. And the full brother will now become the asaba, will receive the agnetic sharehold. So we see that in terms of fractions, we see there is a quarter, which is from group 1, but there's also 2/3, which is from group 2. So we ignore the 2/3, we go to the quarter, we see the 4, we multiply it by 3, which gives us our divisor 12. So the husband gets a quarter of 12, which is 3. 2 daughters receive 2/3 of the 12, which is 8. Granddaughters receive nothing. Our uterine brother receives nothing. So now we see the full brother receives the remaining, so 8 plus the 3, which is 11. There's only 1 left over to give to the full brother. So full brother receives 1, and that equals our 12 that we divided the property into. So everything is okay. Next question, divide the estate if there is full sister, agnate sister, uterine sister, and paternal uncle. Full sister, agnate sister, uterine sister, and paternal uncle. Now to reveal the answer, full sister gets a half, agnate sister receives a 1/6, and the uterine sister receives 1/6 too. There's nobody to block her. And the paternal uncle receives, he is the asaba, he gets the agnetic sharehold. So now full sister, so there's a half there, which is from group 1, and there's also 1/6, but the 1/6 is both the same, but it's from group 2. So there's again, we just go to the half, the 2, we multiply by 3, our divisor is now 6. So half of 6 is 3, the full sisters get, agnate sister gets 1, uterine sister also gets 1. There is 1 left over to give to the paternal uncle. So you got 6 total, and everything is good. Next question, husband, mother, uterine sister, uterine brother, paternal cousin brother, and maternal grandfather. So write them all out. Husband, mother, 2 uterine siblings, paternal cousin brother, and maternal grandfather. So now what happens? To reveal the answer, husband has a half, mother receives a 1/6 because there is 2 siblings. Husband receives the half because there's no children. 2 uterine siblings receive 1/3 because there's 2 of them. Paternal cousin brother will be the asaba, will be the agnetic shareholder. And the maternal grandfather, remember, he is not agnetic shareholder. He is related to the deceased through a female. So he's not a agnetic shareholder. He will simply be mahjub because he would be a dhawil arham from the people who are womb related. So now we see that there is a half and 1/6 and 1/3. So half is from group 1, 1/6 and 1/3 are from group 2. So we just use the 2 with the half, the 2 there, multiply it by 3, we get 6. And we give half of 6 to the husband, which is 3. Mother gets 1/6, which is 1. 2 uterine siblings also get 2, in fact, because they're 1/3 they're getting. And cousin brother gets nothing, and the grandfather receives nothing. The reason cousin brother gets nothing is because when you add it up, 3 plus 1 from the mother and 2 from the uterine siblings, there's nothing left to give to the cousin brother. So though he is a agnetic shareholder, he gets nothing because there's nothing left over. So this is where you understand that the fixed Quranic shareholders are stronger in relation, in comparison to the agnetic shareholder like this. So this is these examples complete. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. So alhamdulillah, today we've finished rule number 1, 2, 3 and 4. So if we just quickly summarize in terms of the rules. So rule number 1 is where there is, in terms of the groups that we allocated, there is only one fraction out of any of the fractions, only one fraction there. So we make the divisor from the denominator of that fraction. Rule number one. Rule number two, if there are multiple fractions from the same group, then you use the biggest denominator from that group that are present, and you use that as the divisor. So if there's a half and a quarter present, you use the 4 as your divisor. If there's a half and an eighth present, then you use 8 as your divisor, like that. And rule number 3 is when there is from group 1 as well as group 2, there are fractions, then you simply take the group 1 fraction, whatever it may be, the highest one of them. So if there's a half and a 4 and a quarter, so you use the 4. And you multiply that by 3 simply. And that would be your divisor. The answer will be your divisor. Then rule number 4 is where there is no fraction. Then we treat each male that is there as double of the female in terms of number of individuals. And then you make the divisor from the number of individuals. So this is what we've done so far today. I will just give a few more questions. I'll use this chance to give a few questions so you can review yourselves whether you understood it properly. So I will share my screen. Here we go. So if there is wife, grandmother, and grandfather, to reveal the answer, quarter for the wife, 1/6 for the grandmother, and the grandfather gets his asaba. He is the agnatic shareholder. So now we've got a quarter from group 1 and 1/6 from group 2. So you use the 4, multiply it by 3, gets you a divisor 12. Wife gets a quarter of the 12, which is 3. Grandmother gets 1/6, which is 2. Remaining goes to the grandfather, which is 7. That equals 12, so it's all good. Next example, we got wife, 2 daughters, and a paternal uncle. Wife, 2 daughters, paternal uncle. What happens here? To reveal the answer, 1/8 for the wife because there's daughters there. Daughters get 2/3. Paternal uncle becomes the asaba, becomes the agnatic shareholder. We got 1/8 and 2/3. So we got 1/8 from group 1, 2/3 from group 2. So we're going to use the 8 multiplied by 3. So this time our divisor will be 24. 1/8 of 24 is going to be 3. 2/3 of 24 is 16. Whatever's remaining, which is 5, goes to the uncle. So this is our 24 given out. Another question. There is 3 wives, 5 daughters, an agnate sister, should I say, and a uterine sister and an uncle. So you write them all down. The uncle, this is a different scenario. So you've got 3 wives, 5 daughters, agnate sister, and I've written mother here, So the scenario is the mother. Slightly changed scenario. So what happens here? To reveal the answer, 1/8 for the wives because they're going to share that because there's daughters there. 2/3 for the daughters because it's more than one of them. Agnate sister will become the asaba because make the sisters with the daughters a asaba ma'al ghayr, and the mother will receive her 1/6 share. So we now have 1/8. We also have from group 1, we also have 2/3, and we have 1/6 from group 2. So regardless of what group 2 is, the 8th we might multiply that by 3. So 8 multiplied by 3 is 24. So the wives, 1/8 of 24 will get 3. So you can see 1 each they're going to get. 5 daughters, 2/3 out of 24, they're going to get 16. Then the mother would be the next person. So the mother's share, 1/6 of 24, which is 4. So she should get 4, and you should write 4 there. I've done it the wrong way around here, so I've already worked out here. So she should receive 4. The 1 you wouldn't be able to work out yet. Then you would add up 16 plus 4, it gives 20, plus 3 gives you 23, sorry. 1 left over from the 24, which tells you the agnate sister's share, which is 1. So that's the way you would work it out. And that would be your 24 here. Next, you've got wife, mother, father, 2 sons, and 3 full sisters. Let's quickly do this one as well. Now to reveal the answer, 1/8 for the wife, mother gets 1/6, father gets 1/6. The 2 sons, because the sons become the asaba, and the agnatic shareholder, 2 full sisters receive nothing. The 3 full sisters. So now we see the main thing is that we see 1/8 and 1/6. So we use the 8, multiply by 3, we get 24. 3 for the wife, 4 for the mother, 4 for the father. Remaining 13 goes to the sons. And that's it.